Analyst paints ugly picture about Nigeria under Tinubu's administration. Nigerians, things are not getting good, though. Things are not improving at all. Honestly, these people promised us renewed hope. We didn't know it is renewed trouble that they brought. We thought with a new regime, Nigeria will get relief from the kind of leadership we had under Buhari, only for us to get into a more worse situation. Just listen to how these analysts describe the situation of things in Nigeria. A snoring giant, not even a sleeping giant. Just take a look at this. This is going to shock you.
So to look at the present, we could look at it from the revenue and the expenditure side. And in simple terms for the common man, on respect to expenditure, the government is planning 27.5 trillion naira. And in simple terms, that budget comes to approximately 350 naira per day per Nigerian, which simply means that for the common man, you get an egg in the morning, an egg in the afternoon, and an egg at night. So this is the budget per Nigerian, looking at how the government wants to spend money. A simple perspective on that. Still on the present, and we can look at it from the revenue side. The government is planning best case scenario next year, 18 trillion naira. And this is why this is important. 18 trillion naira represents approximately $24 billion. Now, I want you to keep that number in mind, $24 billion. That is what the government is expecting for revenue next year, best case scenario. But Tesla, that car company, their budget for next year revenue in excess of $100 billion. The federal government of Nigeria, $24 billion. And Microsoft, they are saying their revenue budget, when their board and MD met, the revenue budget for Microsoft next year in excess of $200 billion. And let me make myself clear. The federal government of Nigeria, the budget proposal of the president says it intends to earn a revenue of $24 billion for all of next year. Samsung, the phone making company, Samsung Electronics, their revenue budget for next year in excess of $250 billion. And in simple terms, what the federal government of Nigeria intends to earn for all of next year is what Samsung says it will earn in 30 days. So that gives you a perspective of why some say this budget, in terms of revenue, is chicken change. And in terms of expenditure, is really just an egg in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the night for Nigerians. You know, my grandfather used to tell me, Jide, Nigeria is blessed, but Nigeria is a sleeping giant. If my grandfather was around today, the story would be changed. Nigeria is no longer a sleeping giant. Nigeria is now a snoring giant.
Nigeria is now a snoring giant. No plans to make this country move forward. No plans. Peter Obi emphasized on moving this economy from consumption to production. But this government is not even looking at that direction. They are not looking into that, productive economy. They are just busy consuming. They go out to beg for loan, come back to Nigeria and live as if we're a rich country. The reality is not being said. This government is not being open to the Nigerian people. What kind of people is this? How are we going to keep suffering this way? You can imagine the level of insensitivity. They are just there for their own personal interest, not even the interest of the Nigerian people. Just listen to more explanation by this analyst. You will get to know that things are horrible currently in the country.
Wow. That is the situation. And so, like you started, a budget of renewed hope. The challenge is, if we take a look into the namings of the previous budgets, Nigeria is already running out of names to call its budgets. We've called our budgets all sorts of things. If you take a look at our history, even in the last 8 years, we've come up with all sorts of names for the budget. Before budget of renewed hope, we've seen the 2016 budget of change. We've seen the budget of recovery and growth, 2019 budget of continuity, 2021 budget of economic recovery and resilience, budget of economic growth. And so the summary is we need to take a look at other things and focus on budgets that will have impacts, not just coming up with names that we call our budget, because already we are running out of names to call our budget. So what do you think will be the name of the 2025 budget? From what we've seen in history, We've used all possible names to describe our budgets, yet the impact is not really being felt.
Which brings me to my next question, talking about impact. The budget is 6 trillion naira, more than the 2023 budget. Does this guarantee economic growth or even development going forward?
Now, the answer to that question is to simply look at previous budgets and to look at how much previous budgets differed year on year, and then to look at the economic growth by the side.
This man want to start mentioning too much of statistics. They said na data we go chop, no be data we want chop. That is what this government told Nigerians. No be data we want to chop, and now they need data to do their work. Who is going to give them data? There is no point even talking about data because this government is not listening to data. They are not. They just want the loans to come in and they use it the way they want.
And if we take a look at the history, remember 2016, 6 trillion naira budget, which was 35% more than the 2015 budget. Economic growth in that year declined by 2%. Take a look at 2017, 7.4 trillion naira. That was 23% more than the 2016 budget. Yet, economic growth, 1%. Take a look at 2023, 21.8 trillion naira budget. That was 33% more than the budget of 2022. And despite a budget growth of 33%, the economy grew only by 3%. And so in statistical terms, when we look at how the budgets have been growing year on year, and the facts on how the economy has been growing, the correlation shows zero. There is no correlation between our historical budget growth and how the economy has been growing. And those
Nigerians, we must hold this government accountable. We must hold them accountable. Don't relax and say it is not in your hand to do anything. We've all got roles to play if we really want to see Nigeria survive. Because as it stands, this government does not even know what they are doing. They don't know what they are doing. And I'm wondering, he said he has a very strong team. And we've not seen the impact of the team.
Remember what my grandfather told me. Nigeria was a sleeping giant. This fact shows we are now a snoring giant. And Anne, you do not wake a snoring giant with a tap.
Nah.
This budget is a tap based on the facts.
All right. So I think we need cold water to pour on this snoring giant.
A lot of cold water. Don't forget your budget is right here. An egg in the morning, an egg in the afternoon, and an egg at night.
Okay.
So guys, as it stands now, Nigeria is finished. It's sleeping, not even a sleeping giant anymore, a snoring giant. And we need cold water, real cold water, ice block water to pour on Nigeria. Who is going to do that for you when we have leaders who are just interested in, renovating their residence and all that? They want to buy big cars and all that. They are not thinking about the masses. They are not thinking about empowering the Nigerian people, the Nigerian youth. And that is why we must reject this APC-led government. We must say no to a party like the APC. Let me allow you finish this video and don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comment section below.
January to September this year, the federal government has spent 12.7 trillion naira. In simple terms, on an average this year, average monthly expenditure this year, 1.4 trillion naira. The president is saying next year he intends to move from an average of 1.4 trillion naira per month to an average of 2.3 trillion naira per month. That seems highly optimistic. Debt service year to date, January to September, 5.7 trillion naira. The budget for next year, 8.25 trillion naira. That seems reasonable. Personnel and pension costs, January to September this year, 3.7 trillion naira. For next year, based on wage growth, the budget is 6.5 trillion naira approximately. That looks reasonable. Capital expenditure this year, and we've spent only 1.4 trillion naira on capital expenditure. However, next year, the president is saying 8.7 trillion naira. Looking at our trends, that is highly optimistic. And finally, looking at our revenue. This year, the federal government of Nigeria has earned 8.6 trillion naira, an average of 960 billion naira per month. The president is saying next year he wants to move from an average of 960 billion naira per month to an average of 1.5 trillion naira per month. Based on the analysis and the trends, That is highly optimistic. And finally, we look at our loans assumptions from the budget. Year to date, we've borrowed 4 trillion naira. Next year, the budget is an additional borrowings of 7.8 trillion naira. And that is the summary of the budget. We've looked at it from the past, present, and the future. However, finally, and again,
they said now statistics we go chop. Now there are a lot of statistics, coming up. Who is going to manage it for them? They said Peter Obi was quoting statistics, mathematics that even somebody from India, nobody from India will be able to solve. That was the language of the president when he went to the Niger Delta. And you could see Festus Kayamo laughing and laughing at if it was a joke to tell the Nigerian people what they were supposed to do for them. They didn't come to debate, neither did they come for town hall meetings. And now they are on their way to take Nigeria backwards. We were lamenting about Buhari, not knowing that the worst is even about to happen. Buhari said Nigerians are going to miss him, and you can see that Nigerians are already missing Buhari because of the leadership of Tinubu. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. No doubt a new Nigeria is possible. This is a wake-up call for every patriotic Nigerian. We have to stand up to take back our country from these people who've got no clue on how to rescue the situation on ground. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification bell for future updates. Thank you.